Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about the traditional Greece clothing. We're going to talk about the geography, the culture, and the traditional clothing in Greece and how it's related to today and if they still are wearing it. It was interesting to find out all of these facts, and I am excited to show and share with you guys today what I have learned from the traditional Greek life. Starting with the traditional Greek geography, Greece is a little part of Europe, with Athens being the capital. Greece has the longest coastline in Europe and is the southernmost country in Europe. Greece is surrounded by the Ionian, Aegean, and Mediterranean Sea. Mainland Greece is a mountainous land almost completely surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea. As you can see on the map, they are also surrounded by the other three seas that I have spoke about, which means that there would be a lot of time to trade and get goods from different parts of the world like Turkey, Albania, and Italy. The Greece mainland consists of the following regions: Sateria, Central Greece; Peloponnesian; Tallahassee, East Central; Epirus, Northwest; Macedonia in the north; and Thrace in the northwest. Also, Greece consists of many islands and island complexes: Crete, Cyclades, Dodekanes, Ioannina, Spotorades, Saronic, and Eastern Aegean Islands. There are more than 14,000 islands. That's insane. For such a small country, they have so many different parts, and you can go anywhere and there will be somewhere different to see. The country has mild winters and long, hot, dry summers, which is why it is very famous for their traveling and their trips and all the beautiful pictures that you see of Greece, because it is always beautiful weather in the summer and spring. But it is interesting to know that they have very mild but long winters. So it doesn't get too cold, but it gets very hot and dry in the summer, which is why Greeks may not love it. But dry heat is better than humidity, which we have here. The ancient Greeks were seagoing people, which means they traded with other countries around the Mediterranean. Many cities created settlements overseas known as colonies. Greek cities were founded around the Black Sea, North Africa, Italy, Sicily, France, and Spain. Many tales and legends grew up about the strange land and creatures that could be found across the sea. Mount Olympus is Greece's highest mountain at 9,570 feet above the sea level. Ancient Greeks believed it was a home of the gods. Mount Olympus became the first national park in Greece. Family life is very important to the Greeks. Children often live with their parents even after they get married. Greeks live strong, long lives, and it is thought that their varied diet of olives, olive oil, lamb, fish, squid, chickpeas, and lots of fruits and vegetables help to keep them healthy. Nearly 2/3 of the people live in large cities. So with all those people who are living with their families in Greece, they are also living in the largest cities in Greece. And with that being said, Athens is the largest city in Greece, with having over 3.7 million people crowding the metropolises. Nephos, the term for smug, is a big problem in Athens. Smog is a lot of fog that is combined with smoke and any other polluting factors. This is not good for the environment and the air in Athens. Another huge part of the traditional Greece history is the Parthenon. The Parthenon is the temple to the goddess Athena atop of Acropolis, and it is slowly deteriorating due to pollution and acid rain. And that is why it is not good for the environment to have all of this smog in their air. The Parthenon was dedicated to Athena, and after its destruction, much of its ruins were utilized in the building of the fortifications at the north ends of the Acropolis. The temple's main function was to shelter the monumental statue of Athena that was made by Poseidon out of gold and ivory. All temples in Greece were designed to be seen only from the outside. The viewers never entered a temple and could only glimpse the interior statues through the open doors. The Parthenon was conceived in a way that the aesthetic elements allow for a smooth transition between the exterior and interior that housed the statue of Athena. The Parthenon was also an architectural movement in traditional Greece. The Parthenon was made up of 8 columns on either end and 17 columns on the side of the temple. This was the finest architecture done in Greek history. And that concludes our geography and a little fun facts about temples and buildings and the city and many different islands and population in traditional Greece. Now we are going to move on to the culture of Greece. Right now, approximately 98% of Greece's population belongs to the Greek Orthodox Church. Many of the culture's traditional celebrations center around the sacramental services in the church. Greeks are very religious. You'll find festivities everywhere in Greece. One example that I found, which is kind of similar to what we celebrate here, is called Clean Monday, and it is equivalent to Ash Wednesday. Ushers in the 40-day fasting period come with meatless picnics and a sky full of colorful kites. It is quite interesting how they celebrate all together. In Greece, every region has its own wealth of traditions. For important dates on the calendar, each region celebrates in their own way with special holiday dishes, songs, and seasonal carols, which is like us. We all celebrate important dates on the calendar, but each family has a different way of celebrating, and it goes back to your traditions of where you came from. And Greece, even though it's one country, there's different cities in Greece which make up of different traditions where different families are going to follow different things. On January 6th, the Greeks celebrate Epiphany. Now, Epiphany is something that we all think it happens, like it's an epiphany, but this is actually a holiday that the Greeks celebrate, which I found very interesting. And on this day, young men on all the islands and the coastal regions of the mainland dive into a cold sea to be the one who retrieves the cross thrown by the priest. Easter celebrations hold a special place in Greek tradition. This is huge for the Greek culture. On Good Friday, every church in the country has its own candlelit procession following the bier of Christ decorated with white flowers. Easter customs differ widely from marching bands, breaking the pots, to the rocket wars. These are all different ways different cities and families celebrate Easter. In Arahova, on April 23rd, or on Easter Monday, if the date falls within Lent, the feast day of St. George takes place with competitions in traditional costume. Greece's uniquely diverse population for such a small country. Each part of Greece has its own characteristic customs, traditions, manners, holidays, cuisines, and local products. Also, they all have different art, costume, architecture, dances, songs, idioms, and delicacies. It is also so interesting to learn that so many cultures are in just one country. I could travel to Athens and then go to another part of Greece, and the atmosphere would be so different. I find that to be like New York City. You can be on 7th Ave with all the tourists in Times Square and for a second, walk 2 avenues up, and be on 5th Avenue with all the luxury flagship stores, and you will have 2 different vibes, and it feels like you just went to a whole different place. Meanwhile, it was not even a mile away. The city is so diverse, and it is amazing to see Greece can be almost the same as us. Another thing I found interesting about their culture is that the Greeks must always offer their guests food or a refreshment when entering their house. Even for funerals and for even more big events, they must provide a cake to give to their guests. Grains, grapes, and olives are central to the Greek diet. So it is true, olives come from Greeks. I love olives. They're my favorite. Their food is then supplemented with eggs, cheese, yogurt, fish, lamb, goat, chicken, rice, and fruits and vegetables. Which is kind of like us. We have our essential foods and we always put it with something else. Gender roles were relatively differentiated and male-dominated until recently. Traditionally, men were associated with public spaces and women with private, with the major exception of the role played by women in attending, cleaning, and maintaining